So as this kind of reignited my love of witchcraft and getting back into it and reading and reading and reading more and more and more. When does the... Oh, right, okay. I have to wrap this up in 10 minutes. Okay, so the place where I work was haunted. I say was. So a coworker, many people there have all seen one particular ghost, a woman with long black hair and a white sort of dress outfit thing. They can't really... She runs. She ran through a wall of one person's office. She ran down the hallway of another person. People from outside saw her running on the third floor through all these windows, realizing, wait, how did she do that? You can't... Did she just run through the walls, kind of thing? This ghost has been cited by enough credible people that it's like, okay, so there's a ghost here. And you walk into the basement, and that first feeling you get is, this is haunted. Like, that's the first thing that runs into your intuition. So, one day, I go into work really early. For some reason, my spirit guides woke me up extra early and said, come on, rise and shine. Early bird gets the worm, come on, you got stuff to do. I go to work. I'm the first one there. There's not many people there. There's like the night shift, working in different parts of the building and stuff. And then I smell something. I'm like, what does that smell? It's because it's very strong, and I don't know where it's coming from, but I smell something. Soon after the fire alarm goes off, building's evacuated. I feel foolish for coming in early, only to be standing outside in the winter. Anyway, go home, think nothing of it. Then what exactly happened next? What? Oh yeah. So I realized later on, as I'm thinking about it, that smell I was smelling, that was frankincense. I burn frankincense like all the time when I'm doing the spirit work. Huh. And then I remember reading about not clairvoyance, but the clair smelling, whatever. I don't know. That was really weird. So I asked the spirit guides, hey, was that you with the fire alarm? An honest mistake. Okay, what happened? There was a bad spirit. I walk in, I invited my spirit guides to come with me, although little if I know, they probably were always coming with me. And there was a bad spirit there. Bad spirit made some sort of comment about or towards me, which really angered my one spirit guide, because my one spirit guide, we go back we go back through some past lives, and very protective of me. That was when the frankincense smell started. I don't know what happened after that. What my spirit guide told me was, he's gone now. There's 3 left. Oh yeah, even before that, one day I just used the pendulum, and I'm like, how many ghosts are haunting where I work? And the pendulum said 4. That's the answer I kept getting. Asked the Ouija board, asked spirit guides, how many ghosts? 4. Always 4. Okay, so one of them was a bad spirit. My one spirit guide did not like that, said they got rid of him. Don't know what that meant. And basically filled me in, and I saw a few images of what happened. Basically, so the building where I work used to be at one time a very, very old kind of retirement home with in the basement a morgue for when the seniors passed away. Like, this is an old school retirement home, like 40s to on to the 60s kind of thing, probably that time period. And a woman got a job there. Her name was Susan. Susan's from Fort William. Got a job there in 1969 as a nurse. But you didn't have to be medically trained in those days. You just had to be a woman, and then they'd give you like the candy striper outfit. And you just gave pills to people and stuff. Yeah, so she was like a nurse. And one of the patients there, Roderick, went by Rodney, old guy, saw on TV about the chloroform trick where you douse a rag with chloroform and you can knock a person unconscious, and he's like, ooh, I'm going to try that to Susan and do some bad things to Susan, right? Because I'm old and I have needs and it's been so long. Yeah. He tells me this later. Anyway, idiot uses formaldehyde, because the morgue, like embalming fluid, and she dies. Her lungs seize up pretty fast. She's convulsing. He starts panicking. He's freaking out. He gets caught in the act, and it's decided to just kind of cover it up. This is a different time. This is a sexist time. This is like, she's new here, you know, we don't want people knowing that a patient attacked a nurse. We don't want the bad press and the bad reputation and stuff like that. And we're already in a morgue. So they just kind of sweep it under the rug. Well, she wasn't too happy about that. So she stuck around to haunt him, saying, you're going to pay for what you did. You're going to go to hell. So when he died, he didn't want to cross over because now he's scared of going to hell. So for like 40-ish years, they're just have this vicious cycle. And whenever she appeared, she was running away from him. Whenever he appeared, which a coworker did see once, he would be a dark shadow and crying kind of thing. Anyway, so I go into the work the next day, and I talk to Susan, and I say, hey, Susan, like, he's gone. You can come home with me at lunch, and we'll figure this out. You can stay as long as you like, right? I got 6 spirits there already. They're very nice. Susan comes home with me at lunch. I'm like, here, and get to know everybody. Like, I gotta go back to work, but, we'll chat later. After work, I come home. Where's Susan? Oh, she's already gone. Where is she? Oh, she crossed over. So basically, she had a talk with my spirit guides. They gave her a little pep talk, helped her deal with the trauma, helped her to cross over kind of thing. Oh, okay, good job, team. Later that night, I get a cold chill up my spine. My dog starts screaming. Something is going on, right? No, my dog wasn't screaming. I'm like, where is he? He's in the basement. I don't want him pooping down there. I go find him. He's doing that thing when dogs get nervous because there's a storm, like just pacing back and forth, like really nervous, drooling, just doing the I know a storm is coming kind of nervous dog thing. And I feel it. I feel the cold chill. I just feel the presence of a bad spirit, and it's my first time, but you just knew it. It's everything you've ever thought it would be. So I come to the Ouija board. How many spirit guides are here? 0. That's scary. And I start asking, okay, it's a better story if I tell you one of their names. And I'm like, I want to talk to Amelia. Where is Amelia? I want to talk to Amelia. I'm on the Ouija board. Amelia's not here. Oh, for a split second, I'm scared. But then I quickly remember, I know what to do. I've been preparing for this in many ways. Reading up on all this spirit talk, exorcisms. And I just realized, I know what to do. And I'm like, so I just start talking with it. So it is Roderick. So I don't know what happened between my spirit guides and the bad spirit, which is Roderick. That day when he was gone, maybe they bound him, I don't know, but they kind of saved him for me to deal with. It was a test. Hang on. So anyway, I'm talking to Roderick, blah, blah, blah. He explains what he did. He doesn't feel bad about the attempted rape until I'm like, hang on. The only reason you're in this situation is because the attempted rape, she's not a, she's a person kind of thing. We have a talk. And he wants my forgiveness for his sins because he's scared of going to hell. And I have to really think about it. And then finally it dawns on me, I'm like, wait a minute. Like, are you religious? Because if you're religious, why are you asking me? Like, shouldn't you be talking to Jesus? And this is not me being Christian trying to push that on you. I'm not Christian. I'm a witch. Doesn't really mesh. But from my point of view, I'm just like, if you are a Christian and you know about Jesus, are you scared of crossing over and then meeting him? Like, you're talking to me, you're pouring your heart out to me. You need to pour your heart out to him. Like, that kind of a speech. I don't remember the exact words. Some of that was the exact words. And he decides to cross over. As soon as he crosses over, my dog is all happy again. I feel much better. There's lightness in the air. Immediately, my hand starts moving on the Ouija board. Catherine, you did so good. We're so proud of you. And I'm like, where the hell were you guys? It's my spirit guides. And they're like, we wanted to see what you would do. This was kind of like a test. You've been going on and on about, you've been talking some stuff, and I've been running my mouth, and helping some people with their sleep paralysis and doing some things, and basically manifesting that I would become who this is. And so they were like, we wanted to see what you would do, and you did great. Like, you could have banished. My phone died. Had to charge it. Anyway, where was I? So they were testing me. They said the way I handled it was better than they could have imagined, because I could have done anything. I could have pissed my pants and ran away. I could have banished him. I could have binded him. There's a number of things I could have done, and what they said was, you offered him redemption. That's, I don't know. And I was like, oh, sweet, okay, thanks. I thought you guys had my back. Where were you guys when this was going on? I asked for you, you weren't there. And they said, well, we have your back, but we're not going to let you drown, but you have to get in the water and learn to swim, basically. And I'm like, whose idea was this? It was Amelia's. I'm like, I get it. I get why you did what you did. I get that it was a test. I don't like it. And I don't like felt sneaky, right? And spirit guides are people. They were living people, and they're guiding you. They are not perfect. It was what it was. So anyway, those were the first 2 spirits that I helped cross over. Trying to think, what happened in what order? Shortly after that, like that night, hang on, my dog is annoying sometimes. No, I forget what I was saying. Right. Okay, so that night, I get a dream. And again, I don't know if I mentioned this, but your subconscious is not what you think it is, and it's not it's a higher consciousness. It's the bridge between the spirit world, the divine, enlightenment, all that stuff. I have a dream, a very vivid dream. Oh, I never used to get dreams. I started doing this stuff. I'm getting dreams all the time now, and I remember them. Like, a lot of people don't remember their dreams. I remember mine. So, very vivid dream. That it's one of those dreams where you're like, oh, that dream meant something. Not sure what, but it meant something. Because the message comes through in symbols. The dream was, I'm like a kid, I'm lifting rocks, and underneath a rock is a group of snakes. Different kinds, all of them harmless, not like deadly snakes, like garter snake, milk snake, these kind of red belly, like just a handful of snakes just sitting there kind of looking at me. None of them are scared, none of them are moving or running away. Like, typically that's what happens. They take off because they're like, but they're just kind of watching me and I'm watching them. And it was just so vivid, so just left an impact. Like, for some reason I woke up and I couldn't get that dream out of my head. Thought about that dream all day long. And I went home and I asked the spirit guides, I'm like, what was up with that dream? What did that mean? And it was my more ancient spirit guide, the one a little more familiar with the Greek gods and things, it said, hey, that was like an acknowledgement, that was like a sign of recognition from Hekate. Like, what you did with Susan and Roderick, like, that was impressive. And Hekate likes to see dedicated witches. She likes people who show that they're going to stick with it. And, like, I've been just 24/7. This is my whole life. I don't have a chance at a normal life. I'm not getting married and having kids. I am just outside of work, witchcraft non-stop, all day, every day, and it's been like that all year. Wasn't always like that. Like, I was always doing it, but only lately has it become my entire life. It used to be I had a social life. Now it's just this, all day, every day. And, like, Hekate is, like, impressed. Like, that dream was like her kind of saying, good job. I'm like, oh, wow, that's profound. And I'm trying to think, did this happen before that? No. Then, not right away, but, like, I didn't know much about Hekate, and I started asking a little more. I'm talking with my spirit guide, like, well, who is this Hekate? I know very little. And he said, if you know about her, that means she already knows about you. Like, if you ask the common average person on the street, they don't know what Hekate is. Because, but when you find out about her, that's her finding out about you, kind of thing. I'm like, interesting. So I kind of make a plea to Hekate, saying, because I know where my life is going at this point. It is going hardcore into necromancy and witchcraft and spellcraft, and using it to help people, helping the spirits cross over, but also people who are struggling with hauntings. That, as soon as people start to find out I'm into this, they pull me aside and they tell me their story, and then I help them with it. And all different kinds of help. One person wanted to get in touch with their spirit guides. Yeah, sure, I can help with that. One person that's like sleep paralysis. Yeah, sure. One person that's more like tarot readings, and then can you do a spell to help me with this? Yeah, sure, I can do that. So I want to use all of my witchcraft to help people. But I also don't want to get in over my head, and I also want to stay humble, and if I go around saying, yeah, I can perform an exorcism, then I better be able to do it. So I make a plea to Hekate, just from the heart. I wrote it down first to really get my thoughts organized, of, hey, look, I fully intend to use witchcraft to help people. And when helping people, I might come across something that I cannot handle. And if you think my intentions are pure and that I really just want to help this person, I might call out to you and ask you for help. And if you want to help me to help someone, that'd be great, kind of thing. Not in those exact words, but that's basically the message, right? And I had drawn this picture of Hekate, and around the picture, this, I want to say aura, it was like a dark green shadow formed around the border of the picture, traced down, regrouped at the bottom, came up, covered the picture, morphed into a face. Face turns and looks at me. It's a woman, and very clear, yellow eyes for some reason, very clearly agreed. And like this, sometimes when a spirit is talking through me, I get feelings, like whatever they're feeling comes through me. Like if the spirit I'm talking to is crying, sometimes I'll be crying. It can be very emotional. This was a deity appeared before me and was like, okay, we got a deal. And I started weeping. I was this weird feeling. I don't know. It's hard to describe. It's like finding your long lost puppy. It's just this beautiful, wonderful feeling. And then this weird, strange thing happened where suddenly, they're not repressed memories, but childhood memories came flooding back to me. 2 specific memories. And it's interesting how time works. We experience it linear, but what if you're outside of time? It works differently. So in that moment, these 2 memories come back to me, and I confirm with my spirit guides that what it meant. First memory, I'm very young. I am a little kid, and I am searching through the toys outside, and I lift something, and there's a frisbee upside down and a snake perfectly coiled in this frisbee. Like perfectly coiled. Not in a stack, but just a perfect spiral of a snake, a garter snake. Very long to be perfectly spiraled in this frisbee. And staring at me. And I'm a kid, and I'm like, my head's going, snake, poisonous. And I'm frozen in fear, staring at the snake. And that, we just stared at each other for what felt like forever before I finally ran away and went, there's a snake. Because I was just this little, like, maybe like 4 or 5 at the time. Maybe even 3. That's a long time ago. I was little. One of the earliest childhood memories. Then I also have a memory of, I'm with my mom, and we're at the lake, and we're walking down the point. And I say, I haven't seen many snakes this summer. Yeah. And then we wind up seeing like 5 just on the short little walk to the point. And then we're sitting on the point and look out in the water, and it can't be. Is that a stick or a snake? Because that is huge. Now in Northern Ontario, in Lake Huron, you have water snakes. And they can get long, you know. But this was the size of a snake you'd see in a movie. This was like a python, but it was a water snake. But and I'm thinking, did someone have a pet boa constrictor and it got off their sailboat? And this water snake has its nose out of the water to like catch its air. And it's staring at me and my mom. And my mom and I are just mesmerized by this huge, impossibly huge. Like if this was a video game, this was the boss fight of water snakes. Like this water snake, and it just kind of blinked, and I don't think snakes can blink. I don't know. And dove under, swam away, and we tried to follow it for as far as we could, but just huge. Now here's the thing, like I do a lot of camping, I see a lot of snakes, but for some reason on that day when I made the deal with Hekate, those 2 memories flash back in my head very vividly. Because in that moment, I'm kind of making a deal with Hekate, and I say the words of, if you think I'm like pure of heart, if you can look inside me and know my intentions are good, what she had done outside of time is be like, all right, well, let's take a look at you. And saw me when I was a little kid, saw me with my mother that day, having this plea with me. Who knows what's coming in the future? But that was her. And the only reason it happened is because in this year, I made a deal with her. And because I made a deal with her in this year, that is why I experienced those 2 things in childhood. It's hard to wrap your head around. But just in terms of how time works. And the way it works for a deity that exists outside of time is, wow. The only reason I saw that gigantic snake that day, it was her. And it only happened because all these years later, I would make a deal with her. I have a lot of memories of snakes. None of them stuck out to me like those 2 did. Because those 2 weren't snakes. They were Hekate peering into my soul And I think it's interesting that she watched me with my mother that day. Because Hekate has told me a lot of things, and she is very much a mother in many ways. So that was like a little initiation into being a priestess of Hekate. We didn't have any fancy ceremony. We didn't exchange a lot of words that day. We've had conversations since, but what has happened is, and I've also said many prayers to Hekate, asking her to open the gates of the spirit world, and that's exactly what's happened. Is I have spirits coming to me, asking for forgiveness. I help them cross over. I teach people in real life. I help people in real life. What does a priest do? Like, that's why I call myself a priestess of Hekate. It's not out of arrogance. It's not out of, it's not because I think it sounds cool. It's because that's my job. And I didn't know what the job would be. I didn't know what would happen when I got into this. And I'm very happy I'm doing it. It feels like I'm doing exactly what I was supposed to do. I had the conversation with my spirit guides. My spirit guides weren't necessarily happy I made this deal. And I said, look, it feels like destiny's calling. Like, I'm not going to have a normal life. If I wasn't going to get married, it would have happened by now. I'm already trans / two-spirited, as it turns out. I'm just going to do this. I'm going full tilt into this. And it's just the perfect, the stars are aligned kind of thing. It's what I do. And I get a lot of spirits every day. And I can't help them all. There is compassion fatigue. There is a sense of like, okay, I just need to live. Some days I want to learn. Some days I want to do spells. And just have to sort of forget that there's a lineup of spirits outside that need help. And what I do is, my mandate as a priestess, part of the agreement with Hekate, is I really only have 2 rules that I have to follow. To help open doors, and magic must never be used to harm. That's it. Those 2 things. To help open doors means helping the spirits cross over, helping people discover their own spirituality, helping them discover their spirit guides, helping them learn how to do this, making these videos, documenting them, putting them out there into the ether so that maybe if Hekate's calling to you, you stumble across these videos, learn a thing or 2. Yeah, that's it. Any questions? Thanks for listening.